Okay, guys. Like, I do apologise for them not running over, and we are going to get in. This is what I call fine-tuning skills for big waves. Now, last year I did one where I did a complete how to get into big waves and stay there, and it was very rushed. Even this is going to be rushed because what I tried to do within a couple of minutes, or 40 minutes, whatever I was allowed, was cram a 5-day seminar into 50 minutes. And what I decided to do this year was concentrate on the finer skills. So I'm going to try and cram that once again into the short period we've got. And obviously, some things, as we go through, you're going to be saying, what does that mean? But this is a story of going on to the next level, what that skill brings along. So without further ado, fine-tuning skills for FS. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you want to dance and jig, you can. Okay, so quick one about me then. That's me. I did my first jump 1969. This year is 56 years ago. Last year I did my 55th anniversary, and I think a bunch of people here, or some of you, were on my anniversary jump that we had a great time. Okay, first jump was over Netheravon out the wing of climbed on the wing of a biplane, 7 minutes past 6 on my birthday in 1969. Got out and thought I was going to die. 56 years, I'm still in the sport, and I still think I'm going to die. Well, I know I'm going to die. We're all going to die. It's just a matter of when, where, and how. Okay, I've got all them qualifications. I was on the British team from 74 to 206, style accuracy, canopy formation, 4 and 8 ways. I've been involved with symbiosis, 4 and 8 way, 1976-81. National team that won the silver medal in 4 way in 1979, and the bronze medal in 81. I was on the world team, every world team, 94, 96, 99, 204 and 206, where we got the 400 way. I was on the Brit 100 and the recent multi-break record. I've been obviously in multi-challenges of Arizona and Paris Invitationals. Right, my experience then was got from the late 70s, going out to DC-3s, Dakota, C-47, the military version with a big cargo door, which we very rarely had. We had a small door, called the DAC. And this is where I learned all about diving and floating, okay, and the relative wing. And those skills are slowly dying out because people now we're going forward and out. Nothing wrong with linked exit, but when it comes to big waves, that's why even when we did the multi-break a couple of years ago, it was taking us on, we were getting out at 15.5, 15.4. It was taking us on average 42 to 44 seconds to build the first point because of the vans or the caravans or aircraft we're using nowadays, especially if they've got seats. But there's still a lot of skill missing. And it's that diving skill as well as floating. And what I try and do when I organise is I'll try and, I'll show you, I'll bring it up a bit later. Okay, so the 400 world record, there's the British contingent, there's yours truly, that's me. Where are you there, Chris? You're on there, aren't you?
Not that one.
Oh, sorry. But that's where the Brits are, that was me, because you all thought I maybe was on the ground recording it. Okay, so, Brit 100, I know Chris was on that, because once again, there's me, and I think you're down here somewhere, Chris, aren't you? Someone there? Yeah. That's Chris. Anybody else here on the 100 way? Okay, you missed a great week. Okay, and obviously the multi-break point. And that was the first point, and that took us, well, but we got out at 15.4, and the last person docked on it before we had 10 seconds to do the record at 7,800 feet. And it takes a long time, and I'll go on for the reasons in a moment. Okay, so for you to get onto that, this is what I'm talking about, or any of those formations, even if you're doing 4-way, 8-way, 16-way, 20-way, the skills are the same. It just means the distances are further. So first of all, we have to understand the 12 fundamental laws of physics, which I am going to go on to now, because once you know the physics, you will find it easier. So the laws of gravity, laws of motion, the first one, law of inertia, second one, law of acceleration, and the third one is action-reaction. We're going to go into that in depth because I need you to know weight, drag, glide ratios, and everything else. But I've cut that down to make it easier. We're going to go straight into the diagram. So we're going to get everybody, we're going to work out what your fall rate is, your forward movement. I'm only joking. We're not going to do that. Okay, so phases. When you go, and I'm going to skim through some of these, but some of them I'm going to spend a little more time on. So obviously, big way, I always say the dirt dive, climb to altitude, jump run, climb out and exit, route to the formation, final approach, fly in the formation, break off, flight drills, and check-in and debrief. Now, as I said last year, and I think it's on the BPA website of the presentation, if you want to watch it, I've got it. If anybody needs it, I can give it you. Okay, I'm going to just touch on the dirt dive, because when you get there, this is where your knowledge learns, where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing. And if you get this right, the free fall is easier. There's nothing worse, and I've seen people saying, God, Dane, where am I docking? Well, and they get lost, and then we have what we call orbiting round a formation, taking people out, and that's why we don't build it. And then under the canopy, everybody's working out, well, who can I blame? Well, you blame yourself, because you didn't listen in. So have respect. And what I mean by that is if you're told to turn up at 9 o'clock to do a dirt dive with your full gear ready to go, it means turn up 5 minutes before. Good person, good skydiver, especially a good soldier, always 5 minutes before. Not turning up at 9 o'clock with a cup of tea, then you've got to go and find your jumpsuit. So we have the respect for the organiser, we have the respect for each other, and we have our self-respect. It's really bad news when people are waiting to dirt dive on one person. It's always one or two people that are always late, that can't find the... I've been on aircraft when people, have you got a spare altimeter? They forgot their altimeter. People forgot the gloves. One person forgot his helmet. So when you turn up for your dirt dive, have everything on. Your AAD switched on, you're audible, your altimeter zeroed, you've done your pin checks. You've got all your paperwork. That's why whenever we organise anything, we get you there a couple of hours early, because I know what skydivers are like. It's like herding cats. Okay, so when you get there, you should find out, first of all, the organiser, if it's a walk-up event, you won't know until then. But if it's an invitational, you'll get the invitation. You normally get what the formation is like. I've tried using that stuff on that, what's it called? You know, the iPads? Then you got them little men. I can't do that. I'm still old school magnet man. But that's why I've got this T-shirt on. I got this when I was organising in the hills in the late 70s. Okay, so you need to know what the formation shape is. Okay, you need to know, well, where am I? What's your slot? Okay, your blue 8, which is left trail, or green, which is lead aircraft, and then right trail. And also, so you need your slot location. You also need what I call the clock ray method. And the clock ray method is the aircraft is always at 12 o'clock. So everybody knows what the jump run is, and I'll come on to that in a moment. So wherever you are in the dive, so I'm going out, I come out, and I know I'm in the trail, so I'm going up here. I know I've got to come all the way around here into between 6 and 9. Or I'm going to come from this aircraft, and I'm going round here, and I'm in quadrant, and I'm going to come on to that in a moment. But first of all, and this is important, especially when you get lost, because people dive out the aircraft, and they tumble. It doesn't matter if you tumble, as long as you know which way you're going. And then you come out, you think, God, where do I go? Well, if I know I'm on aircraft heading, which I'll cover in a moment, I know I can get straight down there to 6 o'clock, get screaming, and I like the noises, and I get up. So I need to know, initially, am I 9 to 12? Am I 12 to 3? Am I 3 to 6, or am I 6 to 9? Okay, so you should know that. Then you want to know the aircraft configuration. Where am I? What aircraft I'm in? And if you notice those, there's the aircraft, different colours, but you've got the red numbers, so that goes back to the last one. So that's the right trail, left trail, and that's the lead. So once again, you know, oh, I'm number 13. I don't want to be number 13. Rubbish. You're number 13. I don't believe in 12A and 14. You're 13. All right? So wherever you are, you need to know where you are, whether you're a floater, whether you've got video, because all this makes sense later on when we're on about things like C and G, which we don't really care of, unless you're in a stall. I've been in a few stalls in the old days when we had the DC-3. We had an aircraft called the Lockheed Lodestar. We called it the load stall. I've been in it when we're climbing out, and it stalled. And there's pictures of me above it as the aircraft's spinning down. We only had 10.5, which was high then. Some of us got out, they managed to get it into a nosedive and pull out at like 5,000 feet. Everybody was saved, but they had killed other people. That's why we stopped using them. So, aircraft configuration and the exit position. You then want to know what your quadrants are. Oh, it has got a thing. I just don't want to press it on. So, I've already said that. So there's the quadrants. And how this works out, guys, is there's your clock ray method. So this here, 6 to 9 is a quadrant, 3 to 6 is a quadrant. Did you get my drift? And then you go into your sectors. So there's a sector, there's a sector, there's a sector. There might only be 2 sectors. And then once you get the sector from there, you've got your radials. So it's nice to know that, because if you've got all this already in your head when you're doing your dirt, and you'll see in a dirt dive, I get lost in a moment when I'm dirt dive. I actually think I'm in free fall. So, and then on the dirt dive, you're going to do a real-time run-out. Now, a lot of people whinge, it's raining, it's cold, I don't want to lie down. Well, I don't care. If you want to be good like me, you've got to go with it. Okay, you've got to go with it. And we did it in, I do it all the time, I get them out. If it's bad weather, we go and do it in the hangar. We lie down. So we do a proper real-time run-out. And what I mean by that, guys, we go, okay, ready, signal, out, we go. And we get out. We get out, we dive. We actually think what we're doing. We're going out. And then we go for about 40 seconds, building the formation. Because everybody gets out, and they go, ready, set, go. 11 second. I've never, ever done in my life an 11-second 40-way. Never. Okay? And it gives you the wrong impression. So what you've got to do is a real-time run-out, and we did this on the world team, we did it on the multi sequential, and I do it every time. Even if I'm doing 8-way, if we're launching 8 or 10-way or whatever, you've got to do a real run out. You're going to look at the route. What route am I going? All right, so I'm out in the, in Thailand. We have 5 C-130s. One of the DC-3 loads, we had 5 DC-3s in the old days, so you imagine the run out on that. We've seen it with, 7 Twin Otters, Arizona, I was involved with. So you've got to find out, and you do your run out, and if you can see, as you're doing your run out, your walk out, you're doing the route to where you need to go, to that point. And I actually superimpose yourself, when you're doing it, what that formation is about. Where am I going? Yeah, I'm going to get out, I'm going to go around the corner, here we go, I'm coming up, I'm picking up, I'm on 12 o'clock, there we go, look at that, I'm almost, there's my sector, move a bit, there's my radial. Very rarely I brain lock. You watch, I'll probably the next jump, I'll brain lock and lose everything. Okay, and the reason people brain lock, do we all understand what the term brain lock is? Where you forget where you are, what you're doing, because you've not paid attention. Or you've psyched yourself up so much that your mind's closed down. So just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Take it as it comes. That's why one of my favourite sayings when I'm organising and doing dirt dives, I'll say, one singer, guys, one song. I am the singer. You are the listeners. Okay? Because you get lots of people, when we had it on the multi-record, a couple of guys kept talking. Who do you think made all the mistakes? The couple of guys that were talking. I mean, they nearly got binned. In fact, one of them did. Okay. Sheepdogging. And what we mean by that is once you get out, and it comes in more apparent in a moment, so this is just a dirt dive guide. Once you get out, you work out who you're on, what the radial is, who am I docking on, and you follow it in. All this will make sense anyway. And what I call recognition indicators. It could be somebody's slider stow. It could be something on a jumpsuit. It could be something on the helmet. So you look there, we've got Craig jumping in the, I've jumped that suit. I've got a green Kermit suit. We call it the frog suit because you stick out, you all know. Is Brian here this weekend? I haven't seen Brian. Brian Cummins, you all know him. He's got a Mohican. You've either got to be really good to have something like a recognition or really stupid. Okay? So that when you get down there, guys, because as it comes on apparent, once you get into that stadium effect, even if it's only 16-20 way, if you cannot remember the person you're going to dock on, that causes issues. So think of one of them, before we had booties, some guys don't jump booties, or I say guys, I'm on about everybody together. You're all skydivers to me. I don't care if you're male, female, whatever. To me, you're a skydiver, all right? So some people, and they had the yellow shoelaces. And that's what we were docking on. I think, yeah, come down in a mix of it. Yeah, there. Oh, there it is. Yeah, look at that. Look at me. Cool. Cool and groovy. Right. Okay. Then we're looking at docking. Well, what part do you dock? Where do you dock? And I always say you're thinking of people who's docking in front of you, a line in front, and the side and behind. Because there has been times, guys, where we've lost a record because someone had a bad exit or completely spaced it, and someone's got too close to where their slot is, and I'll come on to that when I go on about point of domination, and they couldn't get in. So if I know, oh, I'm not saying you did it, okay, but if I'm saying Chris had a space and a bit of a bad exit and he was in front of me, I can go down there, yeah, where is he? Oh, he's coming in, I'm going to take his slot. I can look right, because yeah, because I know Dane, and Dane knows Chris, it's called respect. Yeah, here we go, I'll just dock on his leg. Because the record still stands. It's the grip that makes the difference, if you want to do it that way. So, grip management, what grip do you pick up first? And in a moment you'll see, I'm always quite sort of adamant about grip management. I like to go in, if it's a double dot, you'll see it, I always go in left, right. Why do you think I go left, right? Why? Anybody? I know it's Saturday morning, you've all been, oh, go on. Again? Yeah, yeah, no, I'm not left-handed. It's, look, where do you normally have your altimeter? See, I'm smart. So I fly in, I go, yeah, 7,000 feet. And if it's on the wrist, once again, I can have a quick lock. But not necessarily. Sometimes I might be taking, I normally go inside-outside grip. Sometimes it's a right-handed grip. But it is a good point. But, okay, so grip management and cross-reference. We're on about looking who's next to me, who's in front, who's behind. Bent at the waist. Now, you'll see in a moment, people bend at the waist, and you'll see me right down. And it's the same as talking to someone about tunnel stuff. Whenever I go in the tunnel, I go in with a tunnel rig, because a tunnel on its own without a rig is not the same as free fall. You can get the drills and everything, but a tunnel rig. So I have bend at waist and lying down. So there we are, there's the multi-brake. Okay, and as you can see, there's yours truly. I'm always bent down. Yep, I want to be down. I want to see what the grip's going to be. And also, when you lie down, look at me. I'm a daft sod, really. My legs are up, because I want to know, if you don't lie down properly, how do you know whether you're going to be able to get that grip? How do you know it's not going to be tight on one side and loose on the other? So you've got to go for what I call, you know, a plan your dive, and then dive your plan. So bent at the waist, lying down. And obviously, we go through the braking, the break off, tracking direction, okay, and deployment sequence. So climb to altitude. I'm not going to go on to all of this about what you do. Whatever you want to do to get your head in the right space, you do it. I've got some tips, but I'm not going to go on to that because obviously I'm concerned with time. But prior to boarding, you should know jump run direction, exit and opening point. And the reason we say that, I was going to obviously be more engaging and ask anybody, but I want to get this over to you. And I'm not saying you're all dunces, because you're not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Right, so the reason that is, so we're on that, so we know that this direction is 12 o'clock, don't we? So if I get out and I tumble, and you'll see from these exits, even with the C-130, the Hercules, it was a long way. The only way I knew, because we were right out at the back of the rear trail, is that I got out, and it was a long way, and you couldn't see them. I could see people in front, but if they got lost, you know, you've got to go. So I would go, and I would see the runway. Yeah, there we go, mate. And I would then start going from, because we were like that, and we had to come out this way. I think it was, yeah, because the aircraft's flying, that's what we're flying here. We'd come out, dive round the corner, come all the way in. So I knew where it was in relation to Craig. And as I got closer down, I could start picking up what I call my indicators. And once again, because I know I was docking between 9 and 12. Makes sense, doesn't it? Eh? Good. Right, exit opening point. Also landing direction. We do it all the time. You've seen it at DZ. They normally say to you guys, landing pattern today. You need to know that, especially when there's a large formation, especially when there's 3 or more aircraft, or any aircraft really. We do it at Netherhaven, we do it at Headcorn, we do it at Langer. So, you want to know what the landing direction is. Is it one way? If it's one way, which direction? Is it a left-handed or a right-handed pattern? Because you need to know that, right? If I'm on this side, if I open here, I know I'm going to come down this way, I'm going to come down this way, and I'm going to do my final turn, a left-handed pattern. Or if it's this way, which we try to keep away from the runway, it's going to be a right-handed pattern. Same as that way. Does that make sense? Does everybody agree it's a good idea? Far thing. Right. Also, whether it's a racetrack, and what we mean by that is when there's so many people of you, and you get in, you end up doing a racetrack, and you go around. Now, on the 400 way, we used to open somewhere there, but we landed down here. Because once you get in that racetrack, you just follow it all the way around, all the way around, all the way around till about the last couple of 100 feet, and then you do a left-handed pattern and a left, okay, and the last turn is always a 90 degrees, left or right. And then, so we'd land. Now, if for some reason we got it wrong and the wind was coming down that way, you didn't have to land into wind. No, sorry. If you said, oh, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do it downwinder, you could do what you want. But then you had to get away somewhere. You had to go off on your own and find your own space. And we didn't have any injuries through landings doing this, and we took some downwinders. And you can land downwind as long as you've got flat level canopy, you know, clear of obstacles and all the usual. Okay, a 90-degree final turn. Also, you need to know what the communication plan is in the aircraft. And what I mean by that is, guys, is, right, at what time are we going to get the signal to get off the benches? Or at what time are we going to get our legs over if an oxygen won't have that? So you need to know how we're going to move out, who's going to be climbing out. So you need to know that, and normally that's on the way to altitude, you can go through that, but I'm not going to go into that. So that's what you should know when you do prior to boarding. And you normally get that. All right then, guys, you're around here. today's landing direction, you're going to do this. We know it, Lang is different to Netheravon, etc. Climb out then, quickly on this. Obviously, moving to your exit position, you've got to be careful, guys, about the C of G. You've got to stick to it. Because if those aircraft stall, you're in a whole world of hurt. Especially if you've got 3 aircraft, because they fly together. So you have to respect them. Now, I know some people said about the exit, oh, but the exits are slow. I'd rather have a slow exit than no exit and be stuck to an aircraft going in to meet my maker. Okay, so opening the doors, the divers, floaters. Floaters, get out. You're getting into your positions. There's the other floaters. This was us on the rear trail, rear left. Floaters. Once again, so you're aware, guys, if you ever do go on to doing tailgate exits, whether it's the Skyvan, the Casa, or looking up, you still have to have the C of G. And in there, at the top of there, we had, I think it was, I can't remember, a couple of 100 kilograms of rice. And we still had to keep jumpers packed because it will stall. And then in the C-130, it's not too bad because it'll stall and then come back up. But what happens is, as it's doing that, everybody here else is in the floating system, and then they're getting smashed all over the place. So, and if you notice, we'd have 2 rows of 4, and you can see this 4, and some of them actually turned round holding on. So you have to be careful of that, about the floating, especially if it's like a Skyvan or Casa, things like that. Base in the door, once again, getting in tight. What I would say on this is, you know, these guys, you'll see in a moment, they could have probably been facing more this way because they were in the lead aircraft. But on the trail aircraft, you're going to be out whatever's best for you to go to your next point of call. So you'll see them on the inside as well. You can see them. They're diving like this. This is why when I'm teaching AFF, people disagree with me a lot. I don't care. You know, I've been in the sport. I think I know a little bit. I like to teach people how to dive properly. When they're doing their dive, they dive out towards the tail. I've been on some of these loads, and I've been out the back, and I've gone out thinking, yeah, we're going to follow it there. And the guys have got down there, and they've gone. And that's slowing things down. I mean, I've just pushed them out of the way. So, learn how to dive. Okay, and we're going to go on to that in a moment. And once again, you can see them go there. So, fill the gaps. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Now, the issue is with the UK, there's a lot of these seats. Netheravon, we don't have them, makes it a tighter exit. A lot of them do. In the States, they have them, but you can lift them up or drop them down. They still cause a little bit of a bulk, but it's better. But we're still, that's why when we're doing the big sequential or big waves, we're using a lot more aircraft than we need because we're putting less people in them to make the exit quicker. Okay, the key, so there's Will, once again, one thing about this I'll mention in a moment, is looking around making sure everybody's doing a big old wave and off we go. Once again, we get the count from the, on the tailgate side and off we go. One thing I will say, and I try and do it when I'm organising, is I've not really changed, is that the old days with the floaters, the idea was the floaters would go back to the aircraft and the divers would come down to it. And it makes it easy for the divers, they've got longer to go. But over the last 20 years, people build it down the bottom end, always. And it makes it hard for the divers. Now, this is how we did it, and you'll see in a moment the big gaps. I'm not knocking it. And I normally, like, if I'm organising, I want to be in the base. And I like to be diving in the base. So I'll have 4 floaters in a video, then I'll have 2, then me. Because I will dive down and turn and surf back to the aircraft. Because I want the floaters to come up to me and the divers to come down, and you'll see this in a moment. A lot of people don't like that, especially if somebody has a bad exit. And then what happens is everybody goes down to him, and as a diver, you come out, you dive in, and it's just going away from you. Because every time you think, oh, I need to go, it's going away, which makes it harder. Hence why we're taking 7,500, 8,000 feet to build the first point with some outstanding skydivers. So, anyway, that's just mine. All right, so once again, exit. Right, so we're looking at the presentation of the relative wind. Does everybody understand relative wind? Okay, so basically, it's the wind that's caused by the aircraft. It's coming straight on us. And it normally takes between 10 and 12 seconds, and I'll show you that in a moment when I go on to glide slope. it takes about 10 to 12 seconds before you come out of that, and then no matter what you do then, you've got to get above it the old-fashioned dead spider way. Okay, and I'll come on to that. So you've got the relative wind. Now you'll notice these are great with launching pieces because it means the base 8 or 6 is all together. But what it does, it's surfing away from the aircraft. It's surfing away. And I'll explain a little bit more in a moment on that. Okay, so for us divers, when we dive out, we need to surf with them. And once again, they managed to do this. Bruno took this picture of us and then put it on the skydiving book, Exit. And that was us on that jump, and you can see I'm doing the big D-arch. And I'll come on to that more in a moment. And that is, yeah, I'll come on to it in a moment. I don't want to jump ahead. Okay. So once again, you can see the relative wind, and this is one of them about the divers. Now watch here now. So we go out. So we know the relative wind is coming from this direction, from the way the aircraft's flying. So you get the throw forward of the aircraft. But when you get out of an aircraft, you are still going forward with the aircraft. Although you're coming down, even if you're like this, you're going this way. And to stop that, you've got to do the opposite, which is that. Which is what I did in a moment, and I'm going to go into more depth. So you can see there now, the guy's come out, he's hit sideways, he's lost all his lift. So now he drops down, drops further, and drops further. And then what happens is, you can see now, Will and that, they all start going down to them. Which means that the divers, especially from the other aircraft, have got longer to go, and they're all diving down. So you can see there now, look at the difference. Okay. So how we counteract that, so there again, he's really low now. These people here, I think when I'm not in that one, I'm in the back here, but you'll see me a bigger, and I learnt that in the DC-3 days when I was out in Elsinore in the late 70s. Okay, and it really pays that. When I come at the aircraft, I pass a lot of people before, but I'm still down there and I'm being patient, what I call the point of domination. And I'll show you that on a couple of videos. So you can see now. So what body position can we counteract that? Well, as a floater, and this is in a good position, look, once again, you can see there is it where you've had the gap. There's the first couple of floaters. There's Andy Ford. There's a couple of floaters. There's Will, there's a guy, and they're going across to him. You can see that. So as a floater, you've got about 10 to 12 seconds. So when you get out that aircraft, if you're diving out or you've come off, you need to get in what I call the surfing position, where you've got about 12 seconds. I'll show you that in a moment with the diving and floating technique. So you're in that position there, because your job now is to get up here as quick as you can and get to your point of domination, which I'll come on to. You can see Andy there is already doing his surfing bit, but the people here, you've got to really get the big. So that's the body position for surfers. So once again, you can see there, relative wind, it's come out, you've got the guy there diving. All right, he's in the right position. That's the wrong position. He's going straight into a dive. All right, and then they've got these guys here who are good because if they're going around, they're coming around this way to go there. So they're diving, they get round the corner, and then they go into the surfing position. Once again, you can see how it surfs. So once again, there's a cameraman. We've got a couple of people there surfing, and you've really got to do it. But if anything, try and de-arch, because it's like tracking uphill, and you really feel it. It's bloody great. Okay, so once again, going to it, and there's another one of the ones from a different aircraft. You can see where the base is. You can see how it's left the divers. It's there, and you can see these guys, and you need to get above it to your point of domination, which I'll come on to. Diving, so once again, I just want to show you that, and I've got you that. So basically, when the big piece comes out, because it's big and it's in this direction, it's killing the forward speed. Yeah? Which means the divers, if they're big, they're going to kill it, but they're going further away. So they need to go with it. So they're going to use the relative wind for the surfing, and same as the divers. So, and there's the same shot of me going, and I didn't realise they got this until I'd got the film. So you see me now, and I've always said that you've got to go, when you dive, guys, think of going over a bar. Imagine there's a metal bar there, or whatever exit that you're diving over. It's like going into a pool. Because if you dive out flat, the wind gets your legs and you spin about. So you've got to think about going out and presenting in that direction. So it's big. So it's like that. And you're still keeping an eye, if you look. I'm looking at the top because I need to keep an eye on where the formation is. You'll always lose it for a while, what I call the bounce, where you go over. As it goes over, then you start diving down, you pick it up, and you can pick the formation. So you'll see there, and there I am, and now I'm heading off. Okay, so once again, next thing we're going to come on to is target acquisition. You need to know where that base is, that formation. And that starts as soon as you leave that aircraft. So you've got a lot to do. You've got to think of presentation. Right, where even if I go tumbling, I think, oh, God, I've had a bad exit, or someone's knocked me. That's a normal excuse people use. Somebody knocked me. And I think, yeah, it's down there. So I come out, I get big because I know where my target is. You've got to get target acquisition. So you can see them there looking. Once again, he's come out. These guys, they've got to get down here to get round. So you're looking at target formation. Then, as well as you're doing your target acquisition, you're looking at the route to the formation. So this is our multi-one before. So you've got to think, right, which way is these guys coming down this way? They could have been tighter, would have cut down more on time. Obviously, we're always going to have the gaps with the divers. But what's happened there is because the guy had gone low a bit, everybody's diving down towards him, which made it longer for the divers to go. So route to the formation. You're always looking at the most efficient route, and we're going to cover that in a moment. Okay, route to the formation. Once again, just to reiterate, identify your quadrant, wherever you're going to. So there, I mean, that arrow wasn't in the sky, guys, we were aiming for. I drew that on, all right? But as you can see, we're diving out, and I know that there, where the point is, it's not showing properly on there, is that's aircraft heading, so that's 12 o'clock. So I know where I was going was between 6 and 9. So I'm heading that way now. Identify your quadrant, and then once again, these weren't in the air, guys, that I put them on. But that's the formation to show you that there's Will Cook there. So aircraft running was 6 to 12, so I knew I had to get round there, and that's where I am there. Okay, identify. So you're looking at the most effective flight route, and I've got a little bit of a video of me in a moment. So you've got to come out, and you can see that's where I'm heading down. I've got to think, right, I'm going to come round this way and be tight as possible to it. A lot of people, when they're going round to formations, they go the long way round, thinking it's easier, but what they're doing is burning up time, and then we'd never complete it. So you're looking at the most efficient flight path. And that is always happening all the time. It's a constant process. Okay, so once again, there you go. And there you go, this is what I like to see. People being really radical, because that's what you've got to be on that exit. When you get out, you control the exit, don't let the exit control you. Be radical, get where you need to go, and get going. Right, stadium effect. That's why I've got you sat up here like this, so you can see the stadium effect. All right, once you get round to your quadrant, then you start, you might already be in a what we call a stadium. And that's why if you haven't got it right, you really are in a world of hurt, because you can't get out without taking people out. So you can see there, you get in that stadium, and you can see it there, so you're going to think, God, here we go, I'm open in the right place. Well, now I'm in the right place, because there's Craig down there in the green, and I'm over from 12 to 6 or whatever. Into the stadium. Identify your sector. Now, that might only be, because if you look here, remember what I said? Aircraft jump run, exit, opening point. So I know coming out that, yeah, I know I've got to be around here somewhere, or there, or there, or there. So once again, see all these little tips? So identify your sector, where I'm going to come into. Locate your radial. So there's a lot going on. So you think, yeah, right, I've got my sector right. As I'm, oh yeah, there's Chris, I'm following you, I'm docking on Chris's right leg. So locate your radial, and it's a straight line in. Spatial awareness, being aware of what your body is doing and everything around you, because otherwise you can get this. Now this was the same sector, I think it was the Swedes, and you can see there now the guy what we call drifting, and he takes him out. But luckily, because he's got what I call the point of domination, and we'll see that later on, he can hold it. Because if he's more too low, you can end up being out of the formation. So you've got to be aware. That's why we say once you're out and you've stopped that turn, it's a dive and it's straight in on your radial, It's only little movements, but you've got to be aware of what's on completely around you. I normally can see from about back, believe it or not, when I'm going, I think, yeah, here we go, oh, somebody's coming up behind me. Okay, so point of domination, and I'm going to explain that more. So you've got the point of domination for your divers, so that means you're in a point ready to swoop. That point of domination can be static once you get there because you're waiting for your slot, or it can be constant because your slot's there, and I'm going to show you two versions. And then obviously your point of domination for your floaters, because they're vultures, they're waiting around, they've got up. They have got to do the same. They have got to get up onto their point, because too many times I see floaters trying to come in, and they grab it and either drop down, best case scenario, or they got somebody's leg and they drag that down with them. So even as a floater, you've got to get above it, point of domination. And I'm going to go on that. Right, so this is what I'm saying affects the exit in an aircraft. It's the most efficient and fast and the shortest. Now, this is where you're doing that de-arch when you get out. Now, the red line is what people think they're doing. Can't do that. Because no matter what you do, you're always going to get the throw forward. And that lasts for about 10 to 12 seconds. So if you're a diver doing that until you feel that you're not getting any more benefit, which is after about 7 or 8 seconds, then you can start going into your dive, and I'll show you that. The least efficient, but which is a lot of people do, they get out, and I've got it on one from one of my videos, and that's what they've done. They think they've done that, and they've actually done this, where they've gone out the aircraft, they've not even tried to kill the forward speed, and they've gone straight into a dive. And all they do is they go, that's what happens. But at least they're safe because they're looking. Worst scenario, and I've seen this, where people think, I'm going to get out, I'm going to do, and I'm not going to look, and I'm going to go all the way down, and I'm going to flare out. It's killed people before, it's dangerous, and it doesn't work. But they think they're doing that. They think they're doing this, and that can't happen. They're actually going forward and coming straight down. They end up being low, and you'll see that where people suddenly dropping knees. Okay, so once again, for diving, that is the key. Get used to doing that. As a floater, get used to doing that to get on that, that best, fast and shortest direction, route to the dive into the formation. Right, so I'm now going to go on to glide slope. Now, glide slope is the slope you need to get on once you've come out your dive. You need to be working towards that. And what that means is there's a, I didn't want to go into the law of physics, but if you get below a certain angle, it's like canopy work, you cannot get back to your designated location. Okay? So you have to stay on that glide slope. So I'm going to explain it. So the optimum is about between 45 and about 30 degrees, 45, 40, something like that maybe. You should be no lower than 30 degrees. And you should be no higher than 60 degrees. The ideal is about 45, guys. Now, people might think that's steep. It's not, especially if it means you can sit there. If anything happens, you've got time to recover. You can see what's going on, and all it is, it's a cruise all the way in. Sometimes you stop there. Sometimes it can be all the way in because everything's good for you. Okay. So once again, guys, ideal is about, I would say 45 to about 35 is ideal. But you don't want to be down below 30 because you will go low, which we'll see in a moment. You don't want to be too high because if the formation moves or so on, you can end up taking it out. Okay, so 50% rule for diving. Now what that means is from when you get out and you've done that, what I call the bounce, as soon as you see the formation and you go into your dive, you work out roughly what that distance is. Yeah? And it's all a matter of perception. And once you reach that 50%, you do what I call a big JC cross. You slow everything down, and I've got a video where you can see when you can't see it because I'm filming it, but my camera judders because you will feel it, and that's what you've got to do. You do that at 50%, it'll take you down to about your point of domination within a couple of feet. So you dive down. So I've come out the aircraft. I've done I've gone into my dive and I can see that, God, that's a long way. That's about 50%. At that point, I couldn't get that straight for some reason, but it's everything out, legs and arms. And then I flare out. I get into my point of domination. And there it is. So that's me now. I've come round from the back aircraft here. I've come round there now, and I'm now going. This is where I'm diving, and this is where I have, if you like, if I'm here, so from there to here, where I'm taking the film, that's about 50%. So it's imaginary point. And as I get down to there, I flare out, and it's a big flare. And obviously, it's going to take you trial and error. And then you will get it, guys, and it works really well. So once again, that's me now started my flare. All right, so maybe just a further bit back so you'll see it with my camera. So I've got it on the video, and you should see it. You'll see the camera start to shake. So I've gone round the corner, and you can see now I'm passing people because I'm in this dive. And now look, if you can see the shake, and that's me de-arching to stop it. And then my point of domination now is constant all the way in. Just all the way in, look. And then grip management, left hand, right hand, fly the formation. Okay. Right. So point of domination. So once again, that would be my point of domination if I have to stop. So it's giving you an idea of what the angle is like. Okay. And as I get closer, remember, guys, my camera's on my chin there, so it's looking a bit low. I'm actually higher than that. But also, I'm not going for the arms. I'm docking here. Okay. So, okay, diving techniques then. All right, I like showing that. I don't know why. All right. So, once you've come out, that de-arch, you have got to go into a no-lift dive. And it's hard. I used to practice it from 3 grand when we took a fall at 2. I now practice it at 4. Whenever I get out, sometimes I love it. I love diving, I love floating. What I hate is being left on the ground. Okay, so I'm diving down towards the formation. That was Andy Ford, I think, or someone took a picture of me. And I said, why couldn't you video it? He said, you're going too fast. So, and there's one again. Now, Wendy Smith, New Zealand, outstanding skydiver, outstanding camera person, but a brilliant diver. And this is what I'm trying to say. You can see her going down. And she's just now coming out because the formation is somewhere down there. And she's coming out to get ready to start her. She was camera anyway, but she's getting ready. They do the same technique. Otherwise, if you're on the wrong glide slope, how many times have you seen that? It's because you've got down too low. So this is about right. These guys are a little bit low. You can see that guy there is already dropping his knees. Okay, so you've got to think about getting on that glide slope, and you prevent this. Also, when you wide out like that, it's what I call flailing, and you're skating around the formation. You're taking people out. Okay, I've still got 10 minutes because I didn't. I've still got 10 minutes, so go away in short, jerky movements. Okay, so once again, this is another picture, and this is from my 55th anniversary last year, an invitational to aircraft, and this is what I'm on about. I'm going to show you the video first. Oh, I can't do it because he's going up there. I won't. No, I can't. Okay, I'll try and do it. Okay, so you'll see now. I'll try and pick it out. Right, can you see that? They've gone straight into a dive. All right, and now you'll see them up here in a minute. I'm not filming. This is someone else, otherwise I'd be closer. All right, and you can see there, that person there, look where they are now. But look where the formation is. It's because they've dived down, and it's left them behind, and look at that. And even this, and I can't pause it because I thought that, so you can see now, even this glide slope is too low. And it's because of the technique. I'm not knocking the people that did it. I'm not going to mention their names. Go away. All right. And you can, we were trying to build the Roman numerals Victor, Lima Victor for 55. But we had issues, and it was a thing. So there you go. So that's all I wanted to show. I was going to bring that up. I could pause it, but I haven't got my laptop now. So the idea being, they went out. Straight away, they went into a dive. They're going forward. They came down, flared out too high, and never got there. They were so far away. I mean, go away. Go away. If you want to join my lecture, you should have been early. Right. So final approach, saying, guys, I've nearly finished. Okay, so straight in, it's important you come straight in. You cannot be afford to be flailing around, or what we call orbiting, because you'll take people out. Okay, straight in, all right, and then match the fall rate, no momentum. Grip management, there you are, see, I've just had a quick look at my altimeter. Well, keep quiet. All right, and then obviously grip management. Fly the formation. Now, flying the formation, then match the fall rate. Look to the center. Arch from the hips. Now, once again, you've got a guy here. He's, there's a few points he's done there wrong, but basically, he's very light. He's de-arched, and he should be arching from the hips. The other thing I would like to say is box it out. Box it out. Get your arms out. Get your hips forward. And also, I've got a famous saying, arms. We're not chickens. Have you heard of chicken? Chicken wings. Chickens can't fly, can they? We can. Chickens can't. So when you're like this, in a formation, there's nothing you can do. So you've got to be boxed in, boxed out. Yeah, I got it, mate. I understand. I've got my time. All right, so box it out. Okay, we don't want no more chicken wings. Okay, and you can see there, because of his chicken wings, because of his position, he's lifting this up, but also I'm being dragged down from this side as well. But that's caused from this, and you can see there, I'm now on my side trying to sort it out. Okay, so legs, use your legs to stay buoyant and stay within the formation. All right, anticipate what's going on and be adaptable. Okay, so break off, follow the dirt dive. Follow the planned dirt dive, correct altitude break off, flat turn and track. Okay, there's Ali Mill. Is he Ali in here? Hey! Great skydiver. Reminds me of me when I was his age. Okay, so flat turn and track. Okay, and that last one is Ali looking at me, and then I went, all right, Ali, I'm off now. I'm going to put the afterburners on, and off I went. Okay, so good, and then we've got that in video. So good wave off and pull, rises, all-round observation. So I'm quickly going to show you this video, and I think I might have measured it, but the reason I want you in this stadium effect, I want you to get used to that glide slope. That's what I was going to say, and because I'm being rushed, normally what I say is from this low level here is too low, but you guys are high enough, you go closer. That's why I want you in the stadium effect. All right, so I'll quickly show you this. This is my video. And obviously you can see, it's still slow exit, guys, because once again, you can see we can't get the seats down. We have to stay behind because of the C of G. Okay, and then off we go. And then you'll see now, off we go. And I'm just going to quickly with this. We're all right. We've still got 5 minutes. I like the noise. All right, and you can see me now there, and you can see that camera shake. That's me arching and putting the brakes on. And my point of domination is staying constant all the way down because I've got a good clean shot. Get into so we got out at 5.4. The last person was at 7.8. There's still people coming in that were out well before me and Ali. And then you watch now, and we only had like 7 seconds or something to do the 3 points. I'm doing this, guys, because I want to. Okay, so that was the second point, or third point, I can't remember now. Yeah, second point. Then we go to the third point. So, and I was going to show you the stills of this about positions where you can learn it in the wind tunnel. If you can fall straight down without moving, you're 50% there of being an outstanding skydiver. And there we go, there's Ali, and then I'm off. There's a good track, and then you'll see me wave off and pull. I'm not going to go through the landing. All right, so there we go, wave off and pull, and then rises. Okay, so there you go. Sliders, you sort whatever you're going to do out, rouges, final turn, observation. Obviously, don't forget to check in, guys, because otherwise people on the drop zone are looking for you. Okay, I'm not going to say any questions. I was going to bring up something then, but I forgot. Anyway, that's it, guys. I mean, I can take some questions, quick questions if you've got any. Anybody? Thank you very much.